Is Prince William on a quest to change the monarchy and change how they do something very quintessential to royal work? Walkabouts, and how will this impact the future of the monarchy? Hello everyone, welcome to Royal News Network. My name is Brittany, and today I'm going to be talking about how the visit to Scarborough by Prince William and Catherine, the Prince and Princess of Wales, is a sign of how they're really beginning to change the monarchy from within, and how this new pilot program that they launched can perhaps have a huge impact on how royal visits are conducted, and really how communities are able to fundraise to actually help not only the royals come, but actually be part of this community outreach, this community giving, which is what this pilot program was about. It was something that apparently Prince William had been planning for quite a while. It took a bit of a hit when Brexit happened, because despite what Harry and Meghan have said, their involvement in the royal foundation and as members of the royal family was going to be a huge part of William's vision for the future of the monarchy. But him and Catherine have had to adjust it, and as he's going forward with this, you can really see William putting a stamp not only on his role, but on the monarchy itself, and basically the future of what his reign will probably look like, and things that he'll pass on to future generations, and basically changing how royals visit communities, which is huge, adding something that really hasn't been added since the Queen added walkabouts in the 1970s. But if you guys haven't been here to Royal News Network before, on this channel I provide compelling royal commentary on the latest news and gossip. In addition, I will be reviewing television shows and movies and sharing a bit of history as well. So if you guys are interested in any of that, feel free to subscribe. I also have a fashion channel called Royal Fashion News, so if you love tiaras and jewelry, feel free to check out that channel. I will be reviewing actually Catherine's outfit this week. She will be on my best and worst dress list. I'll ask you to take a guess on which that will be. It shouldn't be too hard, but if you want to go ahead and check out that channel, that would be great as well. I picked basically the 5 best and the 5 worst looks of the week, according to myself, in my opinion. So you feel free to disagree, people do, and that's totally fine. That's your prerogative. But I just think it's a fun way to look at royal fashion. And in addition, I will be having a survey pop up as well. If you want to do it, it'll be in this description box down below. So I attempted to design a t-shirt, but I did not get a lot of good favorable responses. So I thought I will still share what I was planning on doing, but I thought too I'd put out a survey and see what you guys want to see, because I thought it would be so fun. I personally like some graphic t-shirts. This is actually one of my favorite t-shirts. Hold on. I got it at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. It says I Heart History, one of my favorite t-shirts ever. And I want to create something like that for royals and royalty, something that's fun and cute. I actually have a shirt as well that somewhere else in my room that has the pearls of Anne Boleyn. It has a little bee, so it's like you're wearing Anne Boleyn. I really do enjoy shirts like that, and I know not everybody does, but I want to create something where I feel like if you're a community and you love royalty, that's a small niche that I don't feel like there's a lot of things that you can purchase in that area. So I want to create something that you guys want, and I want to make sure I'm though investing in a product that actually sells, because what I don't want to do is order 100 t-shirts and only sell 25, because that would be rough. That would be rough, not gonna lie. So guys, anyways, if you want to take that survey, it'll be down below. And I'm so excited to talk about Catherine and William's visit today, and really what it means for the future of how royalty will be conducted in the UK, because this is something apparently William has been working on for quite a while, because the monarchy needs to modernize. The difficulty with the Queen having reigned for 70 years is that she started reigning when there was still this really huge amount of respect for the monarchy as an institution, what it meant, what represented, the legacy of history. That's died in a lot of ways, especially with modernity and wokeism and those sorts of things. People question this institution much more than they did before, and they say, well, we don't need the royals, we don't need this. And granted, to a certain extent, I feel like people can see, it's just a drain on the system, I guess. But what I feel like monarchies do, and really is critical, is that they provide continuity. So within the span of where Britain has basically had 2 prime ministers, Charles has been there, and Charles will be there for the next prime minister, and the next prime minister, and then there'll be William, who's there for the next several prime ministers, and then George. What royalties give the communities, give the country, is a sense of continuity in the head of state, whereas there might be this infighting, this mudslinging in politics. The monarchy, if it's wise and if it's able to navigate things well, can rise above it and be this consistent voice of the people, which I feel like is what royals and monarchies need to be. And I feel like that is actually a really great thing. And it's something that William and Catherine should strive for, is to stay above the fray, above the politics, because politics is a dirty business. Whereas royalty, again, they don't have to be a part of it. They don't have to descend to that level. And royalty as well, it's a snapshot of history, it's connection to history, it's connection to culture and heritage. And these things I feel like are very important that people are just shoving away because it doesn't fit the narrative that they want anymore. So I feel like that is very, very important. But monarchies also need to modernize. You can't do the same things the Queen did in the 1950s and still expect to get the same reaction. I completely understand that. So William put on his thinking cap, and he thought that what a great thing to do is to have a royal visit, that they go on this royal visit and they actually bring cold hard cash with them. So what does this mean? So in this case of Scarborough, which is in North Yorkshire, it's on the coast, what they did is that they let the community know, basically donors know that, hey, we will be there in a couple weeks, couple months, what have you. I'm not sure the exact timeline. And what happened is they encouraged people to donate to basically this bucket that would go to the community to help others. And when Catherine and William got there, they were able to give the people £345,000. So this was actually, I just looked at the Telegraph article, it was actually a 3-month collaborative effort. So it was between the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales, it was through the Scarborough community, so community organizers could donate, private businesses, private donors, they could all donate to create this pot of $345,000 that can go directly to the community. It can help the community in a time where Britain is already in a recession, and based on the reports I was reading today, it's going to be in a recession probably until 2024. The United States, I don't think, will avoid it. I think we'll also get caught up in a recession at some point if we're not in one already. But it is interesting to see that Catherine and William were like, okay, how do we do this? How do we make sure we establish the monarchy and make it not only beneficial for us to visit the community, to kind of let people know, hey, there's this place called Scarborough. People like me who didn't know what Scarborough was. Hey, there's this place and you want to go check it out. In addition to that, they could actually, having them visit has now a financial incentive to the community. The community can go, hey, the Prince and Princess of Wales are visiting. Let's donate, let's raise money. So it can be this pot that they give people, and it can be this community building effort. They can build their community through saying, hey, let's donate X, Y, and Z. That way we can get a certain amount of money. We can help rebuild this certain area. We can help with shelters, we can help people who have lost their jobs because of the recession, all these different things that they can do to really help bolster the community's efforts. And I think that is a very, very smart thing to do, especially in light of this recession going on and other economic woes, especially as people are dealing with higher energy prices. I'm sure families are just really struggling with all this. And having a prince and princess visit, everybody's like, well, that's awesome. But people who are not invested in the monarchy going, hey, these people are taking away money from the community. They're taking away time from the community. We don't need them. We don't want them. They are a waste to a certain extent, I could see some people saying. But if Catherine and William come in and say, hey, every visit we go to and we do this pilot program, we can bring upwards of 6 figures to the community. Well, I think everybody's tune will change really, really quickly. And so in the case of Scarborough, this money that has been raised will help young people within the city itself. And Scarborough is one of those communities as well that suffers from a decent amount of poverty. So it's something that can really help people and help young people as well. And this money in this pot will be divided out through a panel, and on this panel will include young people, will include a lot of different people, so that the entire community, everybody who is impacted or could be impacted by this money, has to a certain extent a say in where it goes. Prince William made a couple of comments about it, so why don't you go ahead and take a listen here.
The sort of legacy of today, bringing people together and collaborating. And I think bringing people together and showing what can be done when a community helps together collaboratively is really something we'd like to follow on, and I hope it can be represented more widely across the country. So you're leading well, I hope others will follow, and so thank you and well done for making it all happen today. Thank you.
The prince and princess spent time at a local community hub called the Street, according to the Telegraph, where they met the panel of young people who helped decide on the allocation of the funding and representatives from 3 beneficiaries of the money: Gallows Clothes Center, Sidewalk Youth Project, and Flash Company Arts. The Royal Foundation also made a donation. So this is not something where Catherine and William are saying, hey, why don't everybody else donate and we'll just walk through and just smile and be pretty. No, they're like, we'll put our own money behind this too. We put our own foundation's money behind them. And they're generating a lot of money through their foundation now. I believe it was, if I remember correctly, they raised over $20 million last year. So Catherine and William have been able to really bolster what they're doing. So William apparently as well, which I really like this, is that he's willing to take big bets. He's willing to say, according to this report from the Telegraph, hey, we're going to try this pilot program. Hey, it may fail, but we're going to take some big bets. We're going to try things that haven't been tried before. Because again, it's all about this modernization effort, which I feel like really needs to be exemplified after the Queen's death, because Charles is not necessarily, he's had a little bit of a bump, but he's not as popular as Prince William is. Prince William and Catherine are the 2 most popular royals. Camilla has had a little bit of a bump, but I was listening to Megyn Kelly's interview with Christopher Anderson, who's written several biographies about the royals. He said that Camilla will nosedive back down to where she was. I'm not so sure I buy that. I feel like she'll still be somewhat popular just on the basis she'll be seen more. And I feel like sometimes people are, I understand this, and I know I'll maybe get some pushback on this comment, but yes, I know some people are still very upset about the Diana thing, but she did pass away over 25 years ago. I feel like she would be okay with people moving beyond it. But the crown could have a big impact on this. And that's perhaps what William is thinking as well, is, hey, we have the crown in the wings, and we know this is not going to portray us in the best light. And not for reasons that we can really help. There were a lot of scandals in the 90s that are rife for television. However, the crown, again, is dealing with people who are very much alive and very much still reeling from the tragedies that happened in the 1990s. But getting back to this pilot program, I am super thrilled that William is doing this. I think he does need to take big bets. I think he does need to go out into the forefront and say, hey, we're going to try something. We may fall flat on our faces, but hey, our intentions are good. Our model is good. We're looking at the future of the monarchy going, we need to make sure we give it the best foundation possible, because after the Queen's death, there were a decent amount of people that go, hey, why in the world do we pay for this institution? Because the Queen, by just being there for so long, they can't really say, well, let's just kick her out because she's had 70 years of service. So everybody's like, yeah, I guess. Not everybody, but there's a certain portion of the population that's like, hey, the monarchy has to prove its existence. It has to prove why it needs to exist. And this is a great way to go about it. These are going to be called community impact days. It's going to involve as many people as possible, get the community invested not only in these charitable efforts, but also in Catherine and William and the monarchy itself. And I think that's a fantastic idea. Perhaps they do these once a month, because they do require planning. So there's at least a 3-month process where they let the community know. They start building and getting private donations, because oftentimes people they want to make sure they donate to something, and they want to make sure they know where their money is going. The advantage of somebody like Catherine and William is they can't keep any of that money. It has to go back to the people. So if it's the effort that they're spearheading, yes, other people may divert the money somewhere. But Catherine and William, in many respects, their motives are less impacted by their own financial gain. Their gain is for the monarchy. Their gain, to a certain extent, is for themselves and their roles and their positions. That makes sense. But in terms of financially, they don't gain that much. And I feel like that's a really good thing, because when financials get mixed in with charity, that's a problem. And that, I feel like, is a huge problem for Harry and Meghan. I don't want to donate to Archewell, even if it's an event, an issue that I feel super passionate about. I would not donate them because I don't know where that money is going. I don't know if it's going to go where I want it to go. And when they donate things, Catherine and William were able to donate and raise $345,000. That's a lot of money. Harry and Meghan, there was this guy who, Meghan, remember, she donated those Starbucks gift cards last year. $25 on a Starbucks gift card that could buy somebody maybe, and I recharge, I go to do a Starbucks morning run, probably more than I should, and I get a hot cocoa, because I like hot cocoa. I get a sandwich, an egg sandwich, and I get a vanilla scone. And that cost me at least 11 bucks. I should not do that, but I'm running behind and it's just easier sometimes. I'm rather trying to sit down and actually make something and then eat it. I can just pick it up because it's on my way. So maybe Megan paid for a couple of drinks for these people and maybe a bit of food. Like $25 does not go that far. I had like the strawberry refreshers too. Those are like $6 if you get a venti, and they're good. So this idea that Megan bought them $25 gift cards for at the most 25, 50 people, which is, I believe, a couple hundred, if not maybe close to $1,000 or something. It's not that much money. And they got this big thanks. They donated bagels and coffee to somebody, a different group. I think it was the Mothers Against Gun Violence group or some other group. Yeah, because it was paid family leave for the Starbucks gift card. For the Moms Against Violence, it was bagels and coffee. I'm like, do we care about that? That's not something to promote. And there was this, I believe it was a women's shelter in Texas, and they agreed to replace a roof, which would have been, I had to replace the roof on my house. It was over 8 grand, something like that. Perhaps maybe 15, 16, 20 grand, something. It wasn't really that much money, but every time Harry and Meghan donate these little bits of amount, they have to exemplify it to the extreme, and they're hardly donating anything. Even the whole Uvalde stump that Meghan did, she flew out there and gave them cheap food from Costco. There was literally food you could buy at Costco. She didn't even like fix them a really nice setup for a grand meal. No, it was Costco food. Basically what I mean, it was cheap food you could buy in a vending machine. It was just generic chips, not anything anybody could buy somewhere that would be cheap to buy in bulk at Costco. Costco, if you don't know, it's a huge warehouse store in the United States. So if you go there to get a mass quantity of something. So if you want 50 rolls of toilet paper, you go to Costco. If you want like 40 boxes of mac and cheese, you go to Costco. Those are just a couple things that came to my head. Because you buy in bulk, so you buy more or something, but you save is the idea. So that's kind of how people do Costco. And the same thing for food. You can get a lot of little food things. People go there and they fund things for graduation, even weddings. I know somebody who got their wedding cakes from Costco because they're just these big sheet cakes. So all that to say that Meghan bought them cheap food that you could buy basically anywhere from Costco, and didn't even, but yet flew there in a private jet to do that. Why? Why would you do that? But in this case, Catherine and William, I can't say how they got up to North Yorkshire. It could have been a private plane. It could have been a helicopter. It could have been a couple of different things. But they brought to that community a 6-figure sum. That's a lot of money. And I imagine as this program grows, they get more and more money. So Catherine and William bringing this money is just huge. And in addition, I thought which was really smart is that these walkabouts, yes, they're good, and the regular royal visits are good, and they're still going to continue to do them, but they've become so banal that what is talked about is not the visit itself or what they're doing. It's about the outfits, about the body language. And that may take a while to change, and it may never fully change because, let's face it, we all like a little bit of gossip. So I don't feel like that they'll totally get away from that. And we love fashion, so we want to know what Kate's wearing. We will always want to know what Kate's wearing, William. I'm so sorry, but I don't think you'll ever get fully away from that. But I can see as well how if they're able to play their cards right, if they figure out a way to market this where it becomes more about them being there than actually what they're wearing and how they look and how they're interacting with each other, that is a good thing for the monarchy. Because then it does become less about more the gossipy side and more about the work itself. That's something William envisions, and I feel like that is a really, really smart thing, because you don't want to get stuck in the thing where every time you go, it's all about the clothes, it's all about the looks, it's all about the X, Y, and Z, because that doesn't work in the long run. You want to establish something long term, and William's very much the antithesis of Meghan, who was very much into the short term, didn't really care that much. So I feel like this will be, again, a great thing for the monarchy, a great thing for William, if he can make it all work. It says, so this was according to the Telegraph, is the palace is anxious to make that Impact Days will not replace traditional royal visits for 2 reasons. The first is that they take months to organize because the teams from the Prince's charity, the Royal Foundation, have to work with local organizations to raise money and plan how it will be spent. Second is that the Prince recognizes that simply being seen is a major part of his job if the monarchy is to retain its popularity. So the Telegraph describes Scarborough as with 1/3 of its residents that live in areas that are amongst the most deprived in England, meaning that mental health provision is often insufficient. So again, that was the impetus for their visit. And this is a way too for Catherine and William, although they will have to do all these other royal visits. And I feel like that is hard because royal work to a certain extent can be boring because it's all about a bunch of small talk and listening to people describe things that you could probably care less about sometimes. But I feel like too, it's self-fulfilling for Catherine and William, because if they can raise this money, if they can create a project and a plan around something that is a huge passion of theirs, that gets them involved in the work, that gets them invested. So in moments where sometimes it's like, I don't want to shake anybody else's hand. I don't want to talk about your sheep for the 50 millionth time. It gives them to be like, okay, I have to get through this, but we'll be doing another community impact today and we'll be giving £700,000. And this community desperately needs a new maternity ward and this will help them do it. I feel like that can help Catherine and William themselves get real invested. And that's what they need too. Because the monarchy, not only does it need the people invested, it needs the people who are in it to be invested in the work. Because if they're not, if they're like Harry and Meghan and think everything is beneath them, then the monarchy will fall. But I feel like Catherine and William are trying to help establish something that will keep the monarchy going and leave a legacy that George, Charlotte, and Louis can build upon. So for all those who are going to say, how could you put Kate Middleton in the title? Guys, blame Google. Please blame Google. I have put the Princess of Wales in titles. I put Princess Kate in titles, Duchess Kate, and don't do as well as Kate Middleton. I'm sorry, guys. That's what I have to do. So if you want to blame anybody, please blame Google. Because unfortunately what happens is I do these videos and I try to use a different name because I know myself it bothers me. But then the video doesn't do well and I'm de-incentivized to make videos about William and Catherine. And I don't want to do that. I want to make sure I make things that actually do well. So please like this video if you can, subscribe if you haven't already, because that will help me create more videos like these. Just putting that out there. So guys, let me know what you think of William and Catherine's new plan. Are you loving it? Are you hating it? Let me know in the comments down below. And thank you so much for watching. And so I look forward to seeing you guys again very, very soon. Bye.